welcome to your personalized deep dive.
Mm.
Today, we're diving deep into all things Robert Kiyosaki.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so the outspoken author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and we're going to unpack his often controversial views on wealth and capitalism and even the future of money. Or we're going to connect those ideas to practical tips that you can use.
I think what's really fascinating is that the sources you've got here offer a mix of his personal philosophy, but then also insights into those broader economic trends that he always talks about.
Yeah, exactly.
We've got interviews, articles, and even research reports, and then you've even included your own notes. So a lot to unpack here.
Okay, so let's start with just Kiyosaki's backstory.
Sure.
Because I think it really lays the foundation for his whole approach to money.
Yeah. I mean, it seems like his experience going to that, what he calls a rich kid's school in Hawaii.
Yeah.
It seems like that had a profound impact on him.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And just observing those really stark wealth disparities, particularly between, I think he called them the Howie kids and those from other backgrounds. It seems like it really got him questioning those traditional paths to success.
It's interesting that he noticed those differences so young.
Yeah.
And it sparked this lifelong interest in understanding how wealth is created and the role of education or lack thereof.
Right.
In that whole process.
And this is where his rich dad comes into play, right?
Yeah.
So instead of following that conventional advice to get good grades and then a secure job,
right,
Kiyosaki was mentored by his friend's father, who he calls his rich dad.
Okay.
And this rich dad was an entrepreneur. And he emphasized financial literacy and just a totally different mindset about money than what Kiyosaki was learning in school.
So what were some of those key lessons that this rich dad figure imparted?
Yeah, it's not a secret formula for getting rich or anything, but it's a very different perspective than what we're typically taught.
Yeah.
So Rich Dad challenged Kiyosaki to kind of see the world through an investor's lens,
Okay.
For example, one of the biggest things he taught him was to distinguish between assets and liabilities. So an asset, according to Rich Dad, is something that puts money in your pocket.
Okay.
Whereas a liability takes money out.
So a house that you live in.
Yeah.
Even if it's considered a good investment by traditional standards, could actually be a liability in Kiyosaki's view because it costs you money each month.
Exactly.
For mortgage payments, taxes, maintenance.
Rich Dad believed that most people are taught to work for money and acquire those liabilities that you just talked about, rather than build assets that actually generate income. And actually, he used the game Monopoly to teach Kiyosaki about investing.
Oh, wow.
And using debt strategically, and then, of course, acquiring those income-producing assets.
I love thinking about Monopoly as a financial education tool.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
But yeah, it sounds like he was a big believer in learning by doing rather than just reading about it in a textbook.
Absolutely. And that hands-on approach, it clearly resonated with Kiyosaki because it really forms the core of his teachings.
Okay.
And so he constantly stresses the importance of financial intelligence, right?
Yeah.
And he argues that traditional education often fails to equip people with the knowledge and skills needed to actually achieve financial success. So basically Rich Dad's lessons became the foundation for Kiyosaki's whole philosophy.
It seems that way, yeah.
He took this unconventional approach, right? And he turned it into the best-selling book, Rich Dad, Poor Dad.
Of course.
Which, as we know, challenges conventional thinking about money, education, and the path to wealth.
Yeah.
And, while his views can be controversial,
right,
Kiyosaki's core message really resonates with a lot of people, I think, who are seeking those alternative paths to financial security, especially, in today's changing economic landscape.
Yeah, and speaking of that changing economic landscape, Kiyosaki has some pretty strong opinions about the future of the U.S. dollar.
Oh, yeah. He's got a lot to say about that.
Yeah.
And, I mean, he even predicts a potential crash.
Oh, wow.
And he advocates for a return to a gold standard. He's very bullish on commodities like gold and silver.
Okay.
He views those as real money, unlike fiat currencies, which he believes are inherently flawed.
Okay.
Because they're not backed by tangible assets.
Okay, so he sees those was it BRICS nations?
Yeah, BRICS. So that's Brazil, Russia, India, China, and South Africa.
Okay, got it.
He sees them as like challenging the dominance of the U.S. dollar,
Okay.
potentially leading to this major shift in the global financial order.
Yeah, I mean, his stance on the U.S. dollar, it definitely raises some eyebrows. But I think whether you agree with his predictions or not,
Yeah.
I think his perspective really highlights the importance of diversifying your investments.
Exactly. You don't want to put all your eggs in one basket,
Right.
especially in an uncertain economic climate like the one we're in.
Yeah.
And, exploring those alternative investments like precious metals or even cryptocurrencies, that's something that Kiyosaki strongly advocates for.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
Having a diverse portfolio, it helps mitigate that risk
Yeah.
and potentially protect your wealth, regardless of what happens with any particular currency or asset class.
Yeah. And speaking of cryptocurrency, Kiyosaki's a big believer in Bitcoin.
Yeah, I've heard that.
He calls it people's money.
Wow.
And he argues that it's less susceptible to like government manipulation because of its decentralized nature.
Interesting.
Yeah. And he even warns about that potential threat of a central bank digital currency, or CBDC, to Bitcoin and other cryptos. He fears that a CBDC would like give governments even more control over people's finances, further eroding like individual freedoms.
So this all ties back to his core message of like, take control of your financial destiny.
Yeah.
Don't rely on those traditional systems or institutions.
Right.
Educate yourself, develop financial intelligence, and like build your own path to wealth.
It's about thinking outside the box and becoming like financially savvy enough to navigate these changing times.
Kiyosaki's views on education are pretty thought-provoking too.
Oh yeah, definitely.
He argues that schools often prepare people to be employees, not entrepreneurs.
Right.
Like perpetuating this cycle of financial dependence.
He's very critical of traditional education. I mean,
Right.
he even goes so far as to call college professors stupid.
Wow.
He believes they lack real-world experience and are out of touch with the skills that are actually needed to thrive in today's economy.
Right.
And he encourages people to, learn from successful entrepreneurs and investors rather than relying on academia for financial guidance.
So this is where that whole cash flow quadrant concept comes in.
Exactly.
Where he categorizes people based on how they earn their income. Employees, self-employed, business owners, and investors.
Yeah. And his main message there is that to achieve true financial freedom, you need to move from the left side of the quadrant, where you're trading your time for money as an employee or self-employed individual, to the right side, where you're generating income through businesses or investments.
Yeah. So even if you're not planning on building a business empire, I think understanding that cash flow quadrant can like help you think differently about your career and your income streams.
It's a framework for understanding those different paths to financial success and identifying those opportunities to generate passive income.
Okay, that makes sense. And while Kiyosaki is a strong advocate for entrepreneurship, he also provides, valuable insights for those who choose to remain employees.
Right.
He emphasizes the importance of developing financial intelligence, negotiating for higher salaries, and investing wisely to build wealth over time.
It's all about taking ownership of your financial future, regardless of your career path.
So while Kiyosaki's views might seem radical to some, I think his core message is really about empowerment.
Yeah.
Taking control.
Taking control.
And building a life of like financial security and freedom.
He challenges that conventional thinking, He encourages us to kind of question those systems that we often just take for granted.
Yeah.
And really pushing us to consider those alternative paths to success.
And that's what makes his work so compelling.
Yeah.
Even for those who don't agree with everything he says.
Yeah, for sure.
He forces you to like confront your own beliefs about money, work, success.
Now let's dive into some of Kiyosaki's specific investment strategies, because he's a big advocate for gold, silver, real estate, and businesses. And he emphasizes understanding the underlying value of an asset, which is known as fundamental investing.
Okay.
And, he's not a fan of chasing market trends or relying on technical analysis.
Okay.
He believes in doing your research and investing in assets that you actually understand and believe in for the long term. He even shared an anecdote about buying Bitcoin when it crashed to like $6,000 and
Right.
never selling it.
Wow.
Which demonstrates his belief in holding strong even during those times of market volatility. His approach to investing might seem counterintuitive to those who are accustomed to traditional financial advice,
Yeah.
but I think it highlights the importance of having that long-term vision
Right.
and not being swayed by short-term market fluctuations.
So it's about seeing beyond the hype and focusing on the fundamentals.
Exactly.
Okay, now while Kiyosaki is certainly a controversial figure,
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
known for his provocative statements, his unconventional lifestyle,
Right.
it's important to separate the man from the message.
Uh-huh.
Whether you agree with his personal views or not, I think his insights into finance and wealth building
Right.
offer valuable perspectives that can help you navigate the complexities of today's economic landscape.
It's about taking what resonates with you,
Yeah.
adapting it to your own circumstances,
Yeah.
and then creating that financial plan that aligns with your own goals and your values.
Okay, so now let's shift gears and explore those specific economic trends
Sure.
that Kiyosaki believes are shaping our world and, ultimately your financial future.
Yeah, sounds good. Kiyosaki's predictions about that potential shift in the global financial order and the decline of the US dollar, they might sound dramatic,
Yeah.
but they highlight a very real trend that's impacting your finances, right now.
Okay.
And that's inflation.
Okay, so let's connect the dots between Kiyosaki's theories and what's happening in the real world.
Sure.
How does inflation tie into his warnings about the US dollar and the rise of those BRICS nations?
Well, one of the key drivers of inflation is the increase in the money supply.
Okay.
When governments print more money, as the U.S. has been doing for years,
Right.
it can lead to a decrease in the value of that currency. This means that your money buys less over time, as we've all been experiencing,
Yeah.
with rising prices for, everything, groceries, gas, you name it.
Yeah, it feels like my paycheck is shrinking even if my salary hasn't changed.
Right.
I'm constantly having to adjust my budget just to keep up.
Yeah, that's the insidious nature of inflation. It silently erodes your purchasing power, especially if your income isn't keeping pace with that rising cost of living.
Right.
And Kiyosaki argues that as the U.S. dollar weakens, this trend could accelerate.
So what can I do about it? Are there ways to protect my savings and investments from being eaten away by inflation?
Absolutely. This is where Kiyosaki's advice about building a diverse portfolio of assets becomes even more relevant.
Okay.
Remember his emphasis on investing in things like gold, silver, and real estate.
Yeah.
These assets have historically held their value during periods of inflation, acting as a hedge against that declining purchasing power of, fiat currencies.
So it's not just about saving money. It's also about investing it wisely.
Yeah.
In assets that can potentially outpace inflation.
Exactly. And this is why understanding fundamental investing is so crucial.
Okay.
It's about looking beyond the hype.
Right.
And evaluating the intrinsic value of an asset. For example, if you're considering investing in real estate, it's not just about the price tag. It's also about the location, the rental potential, and other factors that contribute to its long-term value.
So it's about thinking like an entrepreneur, analyzing the underlying value of that investment rather than just chasing those market trends.
And, if you're not comfortable investing in tangible assets like real estate or precious metals, Kiyosaki also advocates for owning businesses.
Oh, yeah?
The idea is that as an owner, you have more control over your income.
Right.
And you can potentially raise prices to keep pace with inflation.
So this ties into his cash flow quadrant concept again.
Exactly.
He encourages people to shift from being employees to becoming those business owners or investors to gain more control over their financial destinies.
Precisely. And, while entrepreneurship isn't for everyone, understanding these different quadrants can help you identify opportunities to create multiple income streams and build wealth beyond that traditional job.
It's about being proactive and taking ownership of your financial future rather than relying on systems or institutions that may not have your best interest at heart.
Now, in addition to inflation, there's another major trend that's impacting the economic landscape. And it's something that Kiyosaki has been warning about for years. The rise of automation and artificial intelligence.
Okay, AI is definitely a hot topic these days.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like it's everywhere, and it's changing everything so rapidly.
For sure.
So how does Kiyosaki view this trend, and what are the potential like implications for the average person?
Well, Kiyosaki sees AI and automation as both a threat and an opportunity.
Okay.
He acknowledges that these technologies are, disrupting the job market,
Yeah.
potentially leading to like job displacement and wage stagnation for those whose skills become obsolete.
Right.
But he also believes that, AI can be leveraged by savvy entrepreneurs
Yeah.
to create new businesses and opportunities.
So it's not necessarily like a doom and gloom scenario,
Right.
but rather a call to adapt and like evolve.
Exactly. He emphasizes the importance of developing skills that are in high demand and are less susceptible to automation, such as, creativity,
Right.
problem solving, critical thinking, and emotional intelligence.
Mhm.
These are the skills that machines can't easily replicate,
Right.
and they'll become increasingly valuable in the future job market.
So it's not just about learning technical skills. It's also about honing those like uniquely human abilities
Yes.
that will like set us apart in a world where machines are becoming increasingly sophisticated.
And this is where Kiyosaki's emphasis on financial intelligence becomes even more critical.
Right.
He argues that in a world of like rapid technological advancements and economic uncertainty,
Yep.
it's essential to have a solid understanding of, personal finance, investing, and wealth building.
So it's about taking control of your financial destiny,
Yeah.
regardless of like what the job market or the economy throws your way.
Exactly. It's about being adaptable, resourceful, and proactive in building a secure financial future.
And one of the key ways to do that is to adopt a mindset that embraces change,
Right.
continuous learning, and personal responsibility.
Yeah, this is where that rich dad mentality comes into play again, right? It's
Yeah.
about being proactive, resourceful,
Mm-hmm.
and constantly seeking opportunities to like learn and grow.
Exactly. And one way to cultivate this mindset is to start thinking about your career as a portfolio rather than like a single job or path.
Okay.
This is a concept that's gaining traction, I think, as more people are embracing like freelance work,
Right.
side hustles,
Right.
and multiple income streams.
Yeah.
So instead of relying on a single employer for your income and like security,
Mhm.
you build a diverse portfolio of like skills, experiences,
Yeah.
and income sources.
Exactly. This approach not only diversifies your income and reduces your dependence on any single source of revenue,
Right.
but it also allows you to explore, different passions, develop new skills, and create a career that's truly aligned with your values and goals.
It sounds like a portfolio career, though,
Mhm.
requires a lot of self-motivation, organization,
It does.
and like entrepreneurial spirit.
It certainly does. But it also offers a level of freedom, flexibility,
Yeah.
and personal fulfillment that can be incredibly rewarding.
This is something I'm definitely going to explore further.
Good.
It's given me like a whole new perspective on the future of work and how to create a career that's like both fulfilling and financially secure.
And that's what's so exciting about exploring these ideas.
Yeah.
They challenge us to think beyond those traditional models and create paths that are really tailored to our individual strengths, interests, and aspirations.
Kiyosaki also places like a strong emphasis on mindset.
Oh, absolutely.
He believes that like your thoughts and beliefs
Yeah.
play a huge role in determining your financial success.
He's a big advocate for developing a can-do attitude, taking ownership of your choices, and not blaming external factors for your circumstances. He encourages people to move away from a scarcity mindset,
Okay.
which is rooted in fear and the belief that there's not enough to go around.
So instead of constantly worrying about not having enough,
Yeah.
he suggests adopting an abundance mindset.
Exactly. An abundance mindset is based on the belief that there are plenty of opportunities and resources available. This shift in perspective can open up new possibilities and attract greater abundance into your life.
It's about focusing on what you can control, taking action, and believing in your ability to create the financial future that you desire.
Right. And alongside an abundance mindset,
Okay.
Kiyosaki also stresses the importance of developing a growth mindset.
Right.
Remember when we talked about the rise of automation and the need to adapt and learn new skills? That's where a growth mindset comes in. It's about embracing challenges, seeing setbacks as opportunities for learning, and believing that your abilities can be developed through effort and persistence.
So instead of feeling threatened by change or overwhelmed by the need to learn new things.
Yeah.
You embrace it as an opportunity for growth and expansion.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And this mindset is essential for navigating a world that's constantly evolving and presenting new challenges and opportunities.
It sounds like Kiyosaki is advocating for a combination of like financial knowledge, practical skills,
Yeah.
and a powerful mindset. It's about equipping yourself with the tools and beliefs you need to thrive in a world where those traditional paths to success are becoming less reliable.
And while his approach might seem unconventional or even radical to some,
Right.
it's hard to deny that his message resonates with millions of people worldwide.
Yeah.
He challenges us to question our assumptions, take control of our financial destinies,
Right.
and create lives of abundance and purpose.
It's about being proactive, adaptable, and resilient in the face of change.
Right.
Now, as we wrap up this part of our deep dive,
Okay.
I'm curious to hear what stood out to you the most from Kiyosaki's insights and how they connect to the economic trends we've discussed.
Well, what I find most compelling is his emphasis on personal responsibility and the power of mindset.
Oh,
He doesn't sugarcoat the challenges we face in today's world,
Right.
but he also empowers us to take action and create the future we desire. Whether you agree with all his views or not, I think his work serves as a powerful reminder that we are not simply victims of circumstance,
Yeah.
but active creators of our own realities.
That's a great point. He encourages us to shift from a passive role to an active role in shaping our financial lives and our futures. Now, let's move on to the final part of our deep dive,
Sure.
where we'll explore some practical tips for taking all this knowledge
Okay.
and turning it into actionable steps you can implement in your own life.
Sounds good.
All right, so we've covered a lot of ground in this deep dive, exploring Robert Kiyosaki's unconventional wisdom, and we've analyzed some major economic trends that are shaping our world.
Right.
But now let's shift gears and focus on you.
Okay.
How can you take all this knowledge that we've been talking about and turn it into actionable steps to create that financial future you desire?
It's all about empowerment, right?
Yeah.
I think Kiyosaki's message at its core is about taking control of your financial destiny, regardless of your background or current circumstances.
He's really challenging the idea that we're just passive passengers in this economic roller coaster.
Yeah.
He's saying we have the power to grab the wheel and steer our own course.
Exactly. And while he offers a lot of specific advice, I think it boils down to 3 key areas.
Okay.
Financial strategies, skill development, and mindset shifts.
Okay, so let's break those down,
Sure.
starting with financial strategies. What are some practical tips for managing money wisely? Especially in light of, the trends that we've discussed, like inflation and, potential economic shifts.
Well, first and foremost, I think you have to get clear on your financial goals.
Okay.
What do you want to achieve with your money?
Yeah.
Do you dream of early retirement, financial freedom, starting a business, or, maybe just having more security and peace of mind?
Yeah.
Having a clear vision is crucial because it guides your decisions and keeps you motivated.
Yeah, it's like having a destination in mind before you set out on a journey. Without a clear goal, it's easy to get lost or sidetracked along the way.
Exactly. And once you know where you're headed, you can start creating that roadmap to get there.
Right.
This involves creating a budget, tracking your income and expenses, and identifying areas where you can cut back on unnecessary spending.
So it's about being mindful and intentional with your money, making sure your spending aligns with, your values and your long-term goals.
Another key strategy is building an emergency fund.
Okay.
So having 3 to 6 months of living expenses saved in a readily accessible account that can provide a cushion in case of, unexpected events.
Yeah.
Like job loss, medical emergencies, things like that.
Right.
This safety net can reduce financial stress and give you more flexibility to pursue opportunities or make changes in your life.
Yeah, it's like having that peace of mind.
Yeah.
Knowing you have a backup plan.
So
you're not constantly living paycheck to paycheck or worrying about what would happen if something unexpected arose.
And as you build up that emergency fund,
Okay.
you can start exploring investment opportunities that align with your risk tolerance and financial goals.
Okay, so this is where Kiyosaki's emphasis on acquiring assets that generate passive income comes in.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Investing is a key strategy for like building wealth and achieving financial freedom.
Mm-hmm.
It's about putting your money to work for you rather than just letting it sit in a savings account
Right.
where it might be losing value due to inflation.
Yeah, so instead of just saving money, you're like looking for ways to make your money grow and generate income over time.
Exactly. And there are many different investment options available,
Okay.
from stocks and bonds to real estate and precious metals.
Mm-hmm.
It's important to do your research, understand the risks involved,
Yeah.
and choose investments that align with your goals and your comfort level.
So it sounds like there's no like one-size-fits-all approach to investing.
Right.
It's about finding what works best for your individual circumstances and your goals.
Exactly. And remember, investing is a long-term game.
Okay.
Don't get caught up in like short-term market fluctuations
Right.
or try to like time the market.
Okay.
Focus on building a diversified portfolio of assets that you believe in for the long haul.
Kiyosaki's anecdote about buying Bitcoin when it crashed and holding on to it even when the price fluctuated wildly is a good example of that long-term mindset.
Yeah, he emphasizes patience, resilience, and a belief in the underlying value of your investments.
Okay, so those are some great financial strategies.
Thanks.
Now let's move on to skill development.
Okay.
What skills should we be focusing on, like, to thrive in this rapidly changing job market, especially with the rise of automation and AI, which we talked about?
Well, I think the key is to be adaptable and constantly evolving your skill set.
Okay.
Embrace lifelong learning, stay curious, and be willing to like step outside of your comfort zone to acquire, new knowledge and abilities.
So it's about being proactive and taking ownership of your like professional development,
Right.
rather than waiting for someone else to tell you what skills you need to learn.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Now, in terms of specific skills, I think technology is undoubtedly a major area of focus. Even if you're not pursuing a career in tech, having basic digital literacy and understanding how technology is shaping our world, that's essential.
It's like knowing how to use a smartphone or navigate the internet.
Right.
These are basic skills that are becoming increasingly important in almost every aspect of life.
Exactly. And beyond basic digital literacy, there are other tech-related skills that are in high demand, like coding, data analysis, and cybersecurity.
So even if I'm not a programmer, understanding like how data is collected, analyzed, and used, that can give me an edge in a lot of fields.
Absolutely. And as AI becomes more prevalent, being able to work alongside those technologies and understand their capabilities will be increasingly valuable.
It's about like embracing the future and seeing technology as a tool to like enhance our abilities rather than something to fear.
Exactly. Now, while technical skills are important, don't underestimate the power of soft skills such as communication, collaboration, problem solving, and critical thinking. These skills are highly valued by employers, and they're essential for success in like any field.
So it's not just about like what you know, but also how you communicate, how you work with others, and how you approach, challenges.
Exactly. And finally, let's talk about mindset shifts.
Okay.
This is perhaps the most important area of all because your mindset shapes your perception, your actions, and ultimately your results.
Kiyosaki's a big believer in the power of mindset.
Huge.
He says your thoughts and beliefs can either limit you or empower you.
He encourages people to adopt a growth mindset, which we talked about earlier. Embracing challenges, seeing those setbacks as opportunities for learning, and believing that your abilities can be developed through effort and persistence.
So instead of getting discouraged by failures or like feeling stuck in your current abilities, you see every experience as a chance to learn, grow, and expand your potential.
Exactly. And alongside a growth mindset, Kiyosaki emphasizes the importance of cultivating an abundance mindset.
Right. So this is about believing that there are enough opportunities and resources to go around rather than like operating from a place of fear and scarcity.
Exactly. An abundance mindset allows you to like see possibilities where others see limitations. It opens you up to new opportunities and attracts greater abundance into your life.
It sounds like a combination of a growth mindset and an abundance mindset can be incredibly powerful.
It is.
Especially when navigating a world that like feels increasingly complex and uncertain.
It's about shifting your perspective from one of fear and limitation to one of empowerment and possibility.
This has been an incredibly insightful deep dive.
I agree.
It feels like we've covered so much ground, from Kiyosaki's, you know, unconventional wisdom
Yeah.
to those practical strategies for navigating these changing times.
I hope it was helpful.
Oh,
We've explored a wide range of ideas and perspectives.
yeah,
And hopefully you've gained some valuable insights that you can apply to your own life.
absolutely. And remember, this is just the beginning of your journey.
That's right.
The key is to, like, keep learning,
Yeah.
keep growing,
Keep growing.
and keep exploring.
Embrace a growth mindset, cultivate an abundance mentality, and take ownership of your financial future.
Yes.
The future is yours to create.
Thank you for joining us on the deep dive.
It was a pleasure.
We hope this exploration has been insightful and inspiring.
Until next time, keep diving deep.